Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different and honestly really exciting. We are diving headfirst into a high stakes alternate reality simulation of Indian football. We're essentially going to completely rewrite modern sports history. We're talking about taking the current reality of Indian athletics and then applying a massive 20-year shift in infrastructure, funding, and basically just pure belief in the sport. Okay, let's start with this number right here, 70. It looks pretty harmless, right? But back in 2008, this exact FIFA ranking requirement tragically denied Sunil Chetri a UK work permit. I mean, think about that. It wasn't an issue with his paperwork. It definitely wasn't because he lacked the raw skill. It was simply because his home country, India, wasn't ranked in the FIFA top 70. He missed out on a massive, life-changing European opportunity because of literally one single number next to his nation's name.
So, this brings us to the massive hypothetical scenario we are exploring today. What would happen if the BCCI's billions have been matched in football since 2006? Just imagine if, right at the dawn of the massive cricket boom, football was given the exact same seat at the table. To put that into perspective, the contrast is just stark. India's actual, current FIFA ranking hovers somewhere around 141. Meanwhile, the BCCI controls roughly 80% of global cricket revenue. We have the exact same massive population, we have the exact same talent pool. We have a rabid, undeniable hunger for sports, and yet we have a completely different outcome entirely due to money, infrastructure, and attention. It's absolutely not a talent issue, it's a systemic one.
Let's play this out and see how it builds over a 20-year window of consistent investment, completely transforming the sporting landscape. Step 1, going back to 2006, the AIFF gets BCCI-level funding. Step 2, grassroots academies open in literally every single state, exactly like cricket coaching centers do. You've got scouts heading deep into villages looking for the next football star. Step 3, players like Chetri aren't denied work permits. Instead, they're signing with Premier League academies at age 22. And finally, step 4, by the time we hit 2026, instead of languishing at rank 141, India is actually competing for a top 30 world ranking. You can think of this as simply the compound interest of consistent sports investment.
Now, what's truly fascinating here is that this isn't some crazy sci-fi fantasy. This is our actual current roster, just empowered by 20 years of proper infrastructure. We aren't inventing super soldiers. We've got Gurpreet Singh Sandhu in goal, but backed by 20 years of elite modern coaching. A backline of Jing'an, Ali, and Beke, but heavily sharpened by playing Champions League-level football from their teenage years. You've got midfielders like Kalako and Chengte built on elite academy foundations. And up front, yes, even at 41, Sunil Chetri's leading the line, because in this timeline, he started a full decade earlier in vastly better conditions.
Match simulation, India versus France. All right, let's get into the real fun part, breaking down the play-by-play of this highly anticipated alternative match at the 2026 World Cup. France is obviously the terrifying favorite, but remember, this Indian team is well-drilled with 20 years of elite development. Okay, 15th minute, India absolutely shocks the world. Chetri buries a lethal counterattack. For a full hour, the Indian defense is an absolute brick wall. By the 60th minute, Gurpreet is making 2, maybe 3 genuinely world-class diving saves. It actually takes until the 75th minute for France's elite world-class pace and finishing to finally slice through a tired but intensely disciplined Indian block. And by the 90th minute, the heavyweights finally take full control in the final stretch.
So, the final score, France 3, India 1. Now, I know it might seem a bit weird to celebrate a loss, right? But really think about it. This is a massive, massive leap from real history. It shows an Indian team that genuinely belongs on the exact same pitch as the global elite. They executed a brilliant tactical game plan and literally made the reigning heavyweights sweat bullets for over an hour. That is a result to be incredibly proud of.
Match simulation, India versus Portugal, a realistic upset. But let's look at a much more winnable hypothetical matchup in the group stage. The narratives heading into this clash show exactly where a well-funded Indian side could leverage tactical discipline. We have a top 30, highly cohesive Indian unit going up against a transitioning, post-Ronaldo Portugal. Sure, they are immensely talented, no doubt, but they are relying heavily on an inexperienced young core that's still trying to find their new identity on the world stage.
And here is how that upset unfolds tactically. Step 1. India's compact midfield completely chokes out Portugal's build-up play. You can see those young Portuguese stars getting visibly frustrated and impatient. Step 2. Our biggest weapon, set pieces. Sandesh Jhingan rises up, boom! A thunderous header off a second-half corner and India takes the lead. Step 3. Portugal desperately throws absolutely everything forward and does manage to equalize late, but India holds the defensive line with absolute steel to hear that final whistle.
I really want you to let this quote sink in for a second. A draw against Portugal at a World Cup, in a timeline where football got cricket-level investment, it's a completely plausible result. It perfectly captures why these simulations actually matter. It proves that under the right systemic conditions, an underdog draw on the biggest global stage is totally believable. It's not science fiction, it's just the logical outcome of proper sporting infrastructure. Stepping back from those incredible match simulations for a moment, the visual whiplash of our current situation is just undeniable. Our real 2026 ranking is languishing way down at 141, but in our alternate reality, firmly in the top 30. This gap isn't just a number. It shows the exact painful cost of 2 decades of neglect versus 2 decades of actual belief. Because, a football-first India wouldn't just change the scorelines on the pitch. It would trigger a massive cultural shift. Small towns in Manipur, Mizoram, and Goa, places that already literally bleed football, would finally get the massive national spotlight they deserve. We'd see the creation of an entirely new multi-billion-dollar sports economy running right alongside cricket. We are talking about thousands of new careers in coaching, scouting, and sports science. And most importantly, generational talents would just become the norm rather than a rare anomaly. Before we wrap, we have to look back at actual reality for a second. Sunil Shetty is currently 4th on the all-time international goal-scoring list among active players. He sits just behind absolute titans of the game like Ronaldo and Messi. And remember, he reached the absolute pinnacle of global goal scoring while fighting an entirely indifferent system, with only a tiny fraction of the infrastructure given to those global legends from their childhoods. He literally had to fight the system just to be seen.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought for today's explainer, and it's a question I really want you to chew on. What actually happens to talent when a country chooses to believe in it early? Imagine what India produces when it finally stops treating football like an afterthought. The talent is already there, guys. It's just waiting for a timeline that actually supports it.